Well, today marks 27 years since the attempted coup d'etat led by Yasin Abubakar. My colleague Dionne Baptiste sat down with two persons who lived through the 1990 insurrection. Former head of news at TTT, Mr. Jones P. Madeira, and radio producer at NBS Radio 610, Dennis McComie. Let's take a look.
At Miami, in conversation, I met with some folks that wanted vacation. At Miami, in conversation, I met with some folks that wanted vacation. They were searching for tranquility, where they can relax and take it easy. I said, nature grandeur can just be seen if they visit to the pride of the Caribbean, which means Trinidad is the land of Calypso. That's a place to know, yes. Trinidad and Tobago is the land of Calypso. That's a place to know. From the time you approach Port of Spain, a photographic dream you can always attain. Lovely valleys scattered all around, with mountains standing in the background. A cosmopolitan population with no racial discrimination. Certain taxis are waiting to take you to the wonders of Labrador Lake, which means Trinidad.
In these issues, at 6 p.m. this afternoon, the government of Trinidad and Tobago was overthrown. The Prime Minister and members of the cabinet are under arrest. We are asking everybody to remain calm. The revolutionary forces are commanded to control the streets. There shall be no looting.
On Friday, July 27, 1990, members of the Jamaat al-Muslimin led by Yasin Abubakar staged an attempted coup. One group of Muslimin members stormed the Red House, the seat of Parliament, taking hostage then Prime Minister A.N.R. Robinson and members of his National Alliance for Reconstruction cabinet. Parliament was in session. The State Media House, Trinidad and Tobago Television, was stormed by another group of Muslimin members and employees were taken hostage. For 6 days, citizens looked on in horror as the drama unfolded. 27 years later, victims of the attempted coup are still struggling to come to terms with what transpired that day. We're now joined on set by Jones P. Madeira and Dennis McComie, who are here to share their memories of that fateful day and the 6 days following. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, thank you for having us.
And thank you for agreeing to be here. Mr. Madeira, I know you said that you're no longer, well, you haven't been troubled too much by what happened then. Mr. McComie, are you still haunted by all that happened back then in 1990?
Yes, I'm still haunted by all that happened in 1990.
What do you find most difficult to come to terms with?
The fact that we didn't seem to come to terms with the actual horrible incident. It was one of those horrible incidents nationally, Trinidad and Tobago, and I feel that 27 years later we could have reacted to it much differently in a more realistic way. You know, people would not have been as traumatized as we are now, 27 years later. A lot of things were not resolved. A lot of people were not acknowledged. A lot of the victims were not supported. And the history is in jeopardy of being rewritten by people who would much prefer to dismiss the whole thing altogether. This is very, very troubling for history and heritage of Trinidad and Tobago. It was not a particularly pleasant experience, but it is a reality.
That should be acknowledged.
Yes.
What are some of the issues that you think should be resolved or still to be resolved?
Well, to put things very succinctly, I would really, on a personal level, like to see government, any government, see the whole situation as a national experience and really designate July the 27th as an annual day of national prayer and remembrance. I think if we did something like that, it would go far to not only honor those that were killed as a result of the attempted coup d'etat, but it would also give us time to reflect on the heroism on the part of many ordinary citizens and members of the media. And thirdly, it would lead to help healing and resolution if we accurately recorded what happened to the development and future of Trinidad and Tobago in the context of youth and information sharing, etc.
Mr. Madeira, is this something that you agree with?
Well, maybe I have the gift of resilience, and perhaps that's why I say this has not troubled me as much as people are generally troubled by the events of July 27, 1990. Mm-hmm. You see, every year this comes, listen, you've got to remember that there was a complete breakdown in our national security system. Our intelligence just went completely out the door, and we were not able to get a single hint that there would have been problems on July the 27th.
Yes.
But then we recovered in a way, because in countries where these things happen, you would have spent years trying to reconcile and bring disparate parts together. In Trinidad and Tobago, although our security system broke down, the parts that were separate came together and prevented and contained any more serious consequences. And there are people who were closely connected with the events who are traumatized up to this day. But you know something, even as they were traumatized, we celebrate them because their behavior prevented anything further from happening. One thing, for instance, this country suffered tremendously during this period.
Yes.
But you know it could have been worse. And it's only because of the behavior of the people that it was not as much of a debacle as one anticipated it would have been. Listen, we were having coup parties during the period. I remember when we were released, we were being taken to Camp Ogden on the Madeira roadside, close to Cape Walk. We came up against somebody dancing in the streets with loud music coming from next door. So there was even that kind of behavior that said, listen, this can't possibly happen here. Yet it was happening before our very eyes. Then there was the other side of it, where you wondered whether people would have supported an overthrow of the government, because the government was very unpopular at the time. Yet not a single soul got up and said, I am going to march into town and take the leaders of this attempted coup on our shoulders and demonstrate how much we appreciate what they have done. Nobody did that. So I celebrate the behavior of people in this country whose commitment to country prevented any furtherance of a coup, because in other countries we would have been goners. Yes. The government was hostage, for goodness sake. The Prime Minister of the country and the Attorney General were hostages. A lot of members of the cabinet were in there. This takes years to heal, and we've been able to ride through it. So that's why I say I'm not troubled as deeply as other people are, because I celebrate the people of the country in having acted the way in which they did to prevent any further debacle from taking place.
I should just like to add that that's another reason for us to have the 27th as a day of significance, because we have to remember that on that day, the people of Trinidad and Tobago chose democracy over whatever else that might have been.
Well, it could have been anarchy.
Yes.
It could have been any of those things.
And that was a wise decision. On the 1st of August, when we celebrate emancipation from slavery and we have our beautiful colors and we are in the streets, we should also use that opportunity to celebrate the fact that we're still a democratic nation, although it's challenged and dysfunctional, but still, democracy prevailed, and they all came out from this terrible situation on the same day.
But go back to your introductory clip, and you see the disbelief of Joseph Tony during his presentation.
Yes.
You hear those sounds. We lived with those sounds for 5 nights and 6 days at Trinidad and Tobago Television, where I was head of news and current affairs. And after having gone through the trauma, I decided to come up to TTT to see what happened, what was the result of the amount of explosions I had, and I couldn't believe that we survived. This place was like a street in a building.
Yes, yes.
One building in which we traversed daily to conduct our business was completely flattened. Eventually, I think they found a couple of bodies in a room where we were placed during the 6 days. Now, that's July 27, 1994, and the ensuing 6 days that we had to deal with negotiating our way out of the trouble that we were in.
Okay. During these 6 days, though, were you all ever afraid that the nation, being as unhappy as they were with the government of the day, would actually take up arms and support Abu Bakr?
Not at all. I was confident that that wouldn't happen.
Yes.
And that's one of the success of educating people and having them appreciate that what they have as a country.
Yes.
And regardless of our nonchalance and our indiscipline, and it was the second occasion I was experiencing as a journalist, and well, in the latter one as a hostage. In 1970, when there was an army rebellion, it was the same thing. The country did not jump into the fray and took to the streets to support insurgency. Mm-hmm. They didn't do it in 1970. They didn't do it in 1990. And if you go back to 1970, there were thousands of youths marching on the street, protesting against governance at the time. Yet when the state of emergency was declared, everybody went into their homes very peacefully, and there was no exchange of gunfire, there was no shooting, there was no riot on the streets. Discipline, in a way, I think, took over.
Yes. There was a national consensus, and it was quiet and powerful. And I think we contributed to that by our effective communications with the audiences that heard our radio stations and listened to television, because in everything the people at that point said, it was always geared to development and resolution and peace. People chose democracy, and that is what is remarkable and needs to be celebrated.
Great. Okay, well, stay with us. We continue the conversation on the events of July 27th, 1990 after the break.
I'm not saying I'm sorry for Robbie. I'm not saying that he should be dead. But you in Begonia, take it easy. Meditate, brother, check your head. In every rum shop, every street corner, Robbie is your biggest blunder. Is all you psych up Abu Bakr to pass out the prime minister. But when the bell ring, all you stay far. All you didn't support Abu Bakr. I go hear all you complaining again. Man on the red train in Port of Spain. School books so high, your salary so low. You could hardly pay to come and hear Kaiso. So get conscious, brother and sister. Say a prayer for Abu Bakr.
Well, July 27th was an attempted coup in Trinidad and Tobago, and it had mixed feelings for many people. But the reason why I wrote this song is because I thought that Abu Bakr is a man, as any one of us, and I saw a different strength, a particular kind of strength in Abu Bakr that I hardly seen much Trinidadian and Tobagonians. It's not like you just see people suffering and people clamoring and saying something, and then doing it. He was the man, he was the strong man, he was the man who decided to take up this train and do something for so many people, poor people.
Correct. In this democratic society, the coup was wrong without a doubt. If all you was so against Robbie, why the hell you didn't vote him out?
McComie, Mr. Madeira, looking at that clip, what are your thoughts?
Well, if I have any thoughts at all.
Of course you have thoughts. Come on, be brave.
But I don't subscribe to the sentiments at all. And any feeling that there shouldn't have been violence against any member of government. We have the mechanisms. If we don't like a government, we vote them out.
Yeah.
And I think Krokro
Again, democracy being the
there were very bitter tunes. I think Watchman did one.
Yes.
And if I recall lyrics at all, he was advocating that the plane be driven into the Twin Towers. But I don't subscribe to those, again, because I think I am a member of a population that generally doesn't subscribe to
that kind of violence.
Yes, that kind of violence. Except that, it has potentially grown since 1990. A lot of people say, oh, Dennis, you keep giving everything credit for 1990, but I do. That's when there was a proliferation of guns. That's when there was breakdown and absolute attack on our institutions, and has it improved since then? I don't think we've made the efforts to bring our society back into a holistic, maybe from day to day trying to deal with small or larger challenges and problems, but we're not confident in ourselves that we are progressing along a line of development, and this is what is important. History, truth, and the way we respond to all of these things as we grow, as we leave a legacy for our youth. What are we going to do about this?
But there are so many things that are attributed to 1990 which I don't necessarily believe. For instance, there is a feeling that the upsurge of crime found its generation from the events of 1990. I don't believe that is so. I think crime became more prominent when it became portable. Every youngster could afford a vehicle and committed a crime and was able to get off the scene quite quickly. So there are certain things about 1990 I do not believe. What I believe is that no one was going to be part of the group to take over this country with arms. There's no question about that.
There was a terribly rational bad example given to the rest of the population. What we do is unprecedented. Nobody had ever tried to overtake a democratically elected government, and then look at what happened during the time and then what happened afterwards. So it was all an example to younger people who were probably on the fence about how to feel about this or that. They say, oh, well, I could take a chance now, I mean, if you could be arrested for treason and then get away on a technicality, hey, what else is there to do?
27 years later, are you satisfied that enough measures have been put in place to keep it from happening again?
No, People's Partnership Government, and I have to give them credit for that because it is historically accurate. Kamala Persad as Prime Minister initiated a national inquiry, which some people didn't like. But I think it did a lot of good because it was a facility through which we could gain information, we could corroborate simple things, we could collaborate with each other, and at least 100 people went up and sat down and gave their story. It was wonderful. The fact that the head of the Muslim tried to diminish it is another story. But the fact is, at the end of this very good work, which took quite a while, those distinguished adjudicators came up with some very solid recommendations, half of which were about national security. None of these things have been talked about in the general public about whether or not government, whichever government, has read it, has decided that they were going to implement the measures that these distinguished people suggested, and none of them have followed any of the other recommendations about history, the education about the whole situation, the regularization of recognition, the appreciation to individuals, the heroism of the media, and what should happen in the future as regards policy for all of these things. Crisis communication. This is the biggest crisis communication module that Trinidad and Tobago has ever experienced. Slavery and indentureship.
All of the above is very true. Because in order for the Jamaat to have staged what they staged, there had to be a tremendous inflow of guns. Interestingly, the arms cache was reported on in media weeks before the event. I think the story was in one of the weekly newspapers that this has happened. This had happened, and apparently nothing was done about it. So that are we talking about the nonchalance of people, the carelessness of people in various positions? Because one of the things about this country that bothers me is our tolerance of the small things. Bad driving on the roads, it's routine, you know, not giving a full day's work for their pay.
Corruption is endemic.
Well, I was about to speak about corruption. So all of these things remain a part of the national fabric that we do not tackle. And it makes no sense to me, harking back to 1990 as the origin of these things. They simply have not been handled by people in authority. And if we begin to tackle small things, those small offenses that we commit daily in society, and we find that there is no consequence, we're going to graduate to the slightly bigger one until we get the biggest.
Yes.
What bothers me about the national security situation is the extent to which we are still not able to come to terms with, well, not conviction, but no detection.
Yes.
That's a very serious problem, and it points to, again, a lack of intelligence on the part of the police service. And I'm not going to go back to 1990 to blame it on that. I feel that something, somewhere, somehow, must have been done, but how effective has it been?
Yes. Mind you, we have to take into consideration the fact that the police, particularly, specifically, had an enormous blow during that period of time, and they lost all of their resources as regards past files on crime and intelligence on this and that and the other, you know. But again, there should have been efforts made to make sure that, you know, if this was a crucial factor in what happened, that you needed to do what you needed to do to ensure that it didn't happen again. See, I have a problem with identity and with all of this crime and stuff that's going on. I need to say that identity is essentially linked to your history and your culture. So really there is no great mystery as to what will fix these things. It's because, as John said, we have ignored all of the little things and gone into denial about other things that don't seem too pleasant to us, that we have opened the door to reap the whirlwind that we sowed.
Do you think, though, that the fact that a lot of the details of the insurrection in 1990 seems to remain shrouded in mystery, do you think that's why a lot of people tend to blame a lot of the troubles that we're facing now on, or tend to say that that's where it got its start back in 1990?
Well, the analysts are there because people who analyze these things tend to go to it, but I believe we should emphasize what's happening in society today.
Yeah.
For instance, we have a problem with illegal drugs coming in, and as part of that cargo, the guns. But we have radar systems that should pick up the boats. Are they operational? You know, and those simple things
Are connected to that white-collar crime, you know.
Well, I was just
fellas on the block that are catching 2 sticks of weed, you know. Who's paying him to do that?
For whom are the goods coming?
Yeah.
True. A lot for us to consider and try to get the
Tremendous
answers.
things. And this is all very, this is a shared responsibility for us to resolve these social issues that are impacting on us in a very negative way.
Well, gentlemen, again, thanks for coming in. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. And I feel like we barely scratched the surface.
Well, yes, you're right.
So we'll definitely have to do this again.
Okay.
Yes?
Thanks for inviting me.
And thanks for coming here.
Some folks that wanted vacation at Miami in conversation. I met with some folks that wanted vacation. They were searching for tranquility where they can relax and take it easy. I said, make your grandeur can just be seen if they visit to the pride of the Caribbean, which means Trinidad is the land of Calypso. That's the place to know, yeah? Trinidad and Tobago is the land of Calypso. That's the place to know. From the time you approach Port of Spain, a photographic dream you can always attain. Lovely valleys scattered all around, with mountains standing in the background. A cosmopolitan population with no racial discrimination. Certain lactees are waiting to take you to the wonders of Labyrinth Lake, which